It's about that time of year again, Apple's big September event. We're talking about new hardware, new software, and new services, but unlike any other year, there might be something missing. The iPhone. So what are we getting? The scene is set. Apple's next big launch event will take place on September 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Location, your screen. That's right. Brace yourself for another virtual event, probably like what we saw at WWDC in June, which is not a bad thing. Now, there are different theories about that invite. First off, we take it at face value. Time flies means the Apple Watch will be the headliner. And maybe the flies is in reference to the Air, an Apple Watch Air, because there's a big rumor that there might be a cheaper Apple Watch too. But then there's also a clear augmented reality component to all this, because if you click on the logo, it prompts this really cool AR animation that turns it into the date. So maybe time flies actually means time of flight, as in the depth sensing LiDAR sensor that was on the new iPads and was rumored to be on the iPhone 12, and so maybe it's not off the table. Plus, the blue color is supposed to be replacing the midnight green on the iPhones, and whoa, okay. Let's hold up for a second. Now look, we can sit here and obsess over the invite all day, but it's been such a crazy year that really anything could happen in 2020. So let's just talk about what we know, which is that Apple has already registered a number of different products with the Eurasian Economic Commission. This is something that Apple has to do before launching a product in those markets, and it's been a pretty good indicator of what's to come. Now, essentially, it's different versions of two products, an Apple Watch and an iPad. So let's talk about that new Apple Watch Series 6. Last week, or actually earlier this week, I published a video of what to expect, which I will link below. But essentially, you're getting a similar form factor as the Series 5, but with a better battery life for more robust sleep tracking and some kind of new health feature, likely SpO2 or blood level tracking. There's also a rumor that there might be a surprise guest this year, which is an Apple Watch SE. We're not sure about the name quite yet, but it is a cheaper version of the Apple Watch. This would have a similar form factor as the current Series 3, but maybe with a plastic case, but also with a better processor. Now on the iPad front, we are definitely due for a refresh of the iPad Air, which is exactly what we might be getting. So rumor has it, it's going to get a makeover similar to what the iPad Pro looks like. So those flat edges and that larger display, no home button, but also no Face ID. So Apple would actually move the Touch ID to either the power button or to the sides of the tablet, and perhaps switch to USB-C as well. But what is a given is that it would have a better processor. It currently has the A10 chip, and just that better processor would allow it to have more AR kit capabilities, which might serve to explain that little animation that we saw in the invite. But there's also a very slight possibility that we'll see a LiDAR sensor on it, although I suspect that Apple will keep it as an exclusive on the Pro. And then I'm gonna throw this one out there because I've heard about it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. iPad mini may also be a possibility here. So with these products out in the wild, it would only make sense for Apple to also release their corresponding OS updates. Now, watchOS 7 is a no-brainer. That's what's going to activate that new sleep tracking feature on the Apple Watch, along with that new COVID hand washing feature and dance tracking and a bunch of other new features. I'm going to link that video on the bottom if you're interested to find out what else watchOS 7 is bringing to your Apple Watch. But then iPadOS gets a little bit tricky because it's so tied into iOS 14 that it would only make sense to launch those two together. And that means not waiting for the iPhone launch. And Apple might not want to do it. But if they do, why not just release everything at that point? So macOS and tvOS as well. I mean, look, they've been in beta for long enough, and I personally don't think that we should wait any longer for them. But this is uncharted territory, and again, we don't know. And then we have the services. So last year, Apple went all in on subscription services like Apple TV Plus, News Plus, Apple Arcade, and we're not done yet because this year there's a very big possibility that Apple will launch a new fitness subscription service, kind of like Peloton, but without the bike, that you can potentially do at home. It's primarily geared for the Apple Watch, but you can also cast it on your Apple TV, on your iPad, on your iPhone to follow along. And there's plenty of third-party apps that already do this on the Apple Watch, but this one would be native to Apple. And it would kind of work kind of like what Fitbit does with Fitbit Premium. And if this is already sounding like way too many subscriptions to keep track of from Apple, that's where Apple One comes in. This is going to be a new bundled service from Apple where you can include different types of services like iCloud or Apple Music or the ones that I just mentioned, really anything that you want. 9to5 Google already found a reference to this in the code of the Android version of Apple Music, so there's a big chance that this might be happening very soon. Now, with that iPhone out of the equation, is all of this going to be enough to cover a full 2-hour-long event? Because that's exactly what Apple has slotted, and I'm not really sure. So just to cover my bases, I'm going to go through a couple of the other products that are rumored to be in the works that might make an appearance at the September 15th event, going from most likely to least likely. And first off is the AirTags, or the physical version of the Find My iPhone, which would allow you to track just about anything. Then there's also those AirPods Studios, which are the over-the-ear AirPods, similar to the current Beats. Then you have a smaller, cheaper HomePod, and then the AirPower Mat, because that one's always in the background. And why not a 13-inch MacBook Pro and AR glasses, because this would be such a good year to launch AR glasses, but I don't think they're ready yet. So what do you guys think is going to be that one more thing at this event? Is the iPhone 12 going to make an appearance or at least a mention? Let me know on the comments section below. Also, I want to let you know that we are going to have a live show for the Apple event starting at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday. So please join us as we discuss the latest information about the event. Then we're also going to be talking through the keynote and then have a post-event analysis along with our first impressions of those new Apple products. So I will see you at the Apple event.